Alright, we should be live. We're back. We're working on Green Goblin / Norman Osborn. And we only need 10 more cuts and he's all done. Oh god. He is basically perfect. I'm gonna get rid of Mishra's Workshop now. Honestly, the colorless mana and the restriction on it just makes it not worth the effort most of the time. And it's like $1,000 magic card almost, or is $1,000 magic card at this point. I don't know. It's too expensive, and it does not actually help the deck the way it would when I first started with it. So where are we gonna cut? It's like the last 10 cards, because right now we have a very strong combo deck. It's just that it does not have room for anything else, and it's going to need lands at some point in time. Can't just not... Like, we can't cut 10 lands from it and have it be okay. Maybe we could get away with a few less because of all the artifact mana in it, but that's still not great. And all the cantrips. But the cantrips don't really make up for it when they're like, 2 mana and you miss. Then it's actually the worst, so... We can't go too far out. The deck definitely needs its mana. Like, it cannot go off without a few extra sources a lot of the time, so... Burgie is super useful, but I could see it being her. We're a Storm deck, and I'm thinking about cutting Burgie. That's how bad this has gotten. Fervent Mastery is incredibly strong if you can cast it the turn that you're going off. Because usually you will be empty-handed, so it is actually 3 Demonic Tutors in a trench coat. with built-in discounts to all of the cards. Not that you would need them since you discard your whole hand at some point in time anyway, but just incredibly strong. Yeah, everything we have left on the list is worth including, and that's where the frustration comes from. Like, it's just so hard to cut anything left, because everything left on the list is actually very good. Like, I can cut Ignite the Future, but... So the biggest argument for cutting Ignite the Future is that it's 2 mana to cast, and it is worse in most cases than Paradoxical Outcome, or about the same. So... or... Yeah, most of the time it's going to be worse or the same, but the times where it's better, it's going to be a lot better. Alright, I need cuts. Sorry, Ignite the Future. I think you're one of the best cards I'm going to cut from this deck. That hurts a lot. But I do need 10 cuts, and it's just not happening. Like, nothing else feels like it can go that easily. Like, even Burgie, who I've been considering cutting like a dozen times now, I've played with Fleam in Brawl, and Burgie is very strong. Burgee is very strong. Harnfell is less good. Like, Harnfell is not actually as good as I thought it might be. Because I just do not have excess mana to cast spells with, even even the cheapest ones, and I can't discard cards that are in exile, so just does not do nearly enough. And it's a 5-drop, whereas Burgee is a 3, and we can get Burgee down to 1. But Harnfell still costs 3, so. Now I've cast Harnfell a couple of times just to see if I could make it work in situations where I thought I could get away with it, and yeah, it usually is very underwhelming, so. But yeah, Burgee should not be on the discard outlet list because Harnfell is not worth it, but Burgee should still be on the main list. Also, technically, Gamble shouldn't be either because it's a one-shot and it doesn't give me any control over what I discard. Yeah, so right now my main discard outlets are Zombie Infestation, Putrid Imp, Bloodthorn Flail, Artist Talent, and Psychic Frog. So, if anything, I feel like we're short on discard outlets. Like, I need another 1 or 2 in here. So that's not a great feeling when I'm trying to cut cards. In my head, I'm thinking right now, I'm going back and forth between Teferi, Barracuda, and Conqueror's Flail, and I'm wondering about Conqueror's Flail specifically. Because if I don't have something like the Imp already in play to attach the Conqueror's Flail to ahead of time, I need a creature in play to put Conqueror's Flail on before I try and cast Norman, because I don't want anybody to be able to kill him in response, like counter him or kill him once he hits the table and I start discarding. So, if Teferi or the Barracuda is already in play, then nobody's going to be able to do anything on my turn to begin with. So, maybe Conqueror's Flail can go. Yeah, the worst part is I'm not even kidding when I say I don't think I have enough discard outlets on the list, because you need to be able to just discard cards whenever you want to, and the only, like, straight up discard a card whenever you want to. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards on the list. That's less than a tenth of the deck. The other discard outlets are definitely playable, but like I said, Gamble is technically not a discard outlet. It's a tutor, and that's all it is in this deck. Same is basically true for Fervent Mastery, except that because you are tutoring for things, you can tutor for discard outlets. So, and some of our discard outlets are only 1 mana anyway, so even if we didn't discard them, we should still be able to cast them. But yeah, this is actually a problem. Like, one of the things that I struggle with most with Fleam is I don't have a repeatable discard outlet in play to actually let the deck go off. That's the first thing it struggles with. The second thing it struggles with then is enough card flow to get to critical mass, and the last hurdle is colored mana to actually cast the game-ending spells. So but I still need to cut a few more cards first, just to make room for the lands. Then we can figure out if I want to cut anything else to make room for more cards that actually help the deck win. I'm legit wondering if I cut Mana Vault. Colorless mana is not my issue at all. So I can actually see cutting the Mana Vault at this point. Yeah, it's less about needing ramp and more about needing mana sources when I'm going off. Like, Soul Ring is fine. I don't necessarily need it, but it's fine. But the biggest problem is not having enough colored mana sources when the deck is actually trying to win. Like, I'm still planning on leaving, I think, Ancient Tomb in. I think. But that's mostly in there for the same reason as Soul Ring, just to get to critical mass of mana to get the combo started sooner. Which is an argument for Mana Vault also, but again, I don't have the most colorless requirements, so there's going to be fewer times where that's going to be necessary. It's still not a great cut, but most things aren't great cuts at this point, so. Like, I think I'm good on the cards that augment my ability um to actually go off once we start comboing. We do need one of the repeatable ones. Like, as strong as Paradoxical is, and it is very strong in this deck, I do feel like I need um the ones that actually happen every single time. Like, Artist Talent is very strong. Quantum Riddler, Teferi's Ageless Insight. Like, the ones that I've had in play with Fleam have all worked out perfectly. So Secrets of the Dead should slot right in, since it's essentially near div without the power boost and the vulnerability to creature removal. But yeah, even having File of Galadriel out, and I have botched that a couple times while playing with the deck, where I have gone to draw a card without discarding the rest of my hand first. Also have to be careful when I discard the rest of my hand and then I have Artist Talent in play, because it's like, if you had one more card in your hand, you could discard that card, and then the File and the Quantum Riddler would both kick in, because now you have no cards in hand, so File will increase the draw by 1, and Quantum Riddler will increase the draw by 1, so that you actually get four. You actually wind up drawing 4 cards with both of them in play. So, because yeah, you're supposed to draw 1, and then the Quantum Riddler increases it, or File Galadriel increases it to 2, but since you don't have enough cards in your hand, Quantum Riddler is 1 or fewer, so you still get to draw the 2 cards off of the replacement effect from the file's extra card, and then you get the card on top of that. So you actually wind up drawing 4 cards with it. Alright, let's knock these 3 off of the list. So, Ignite. Oh, so every copy of Ignite is gone. Conqueror's Flail is also gone then. Yep. So we just need the actual Mana Vault from the top. There we go. Brings us down to 67. There is a part of me that wonders if we can just cut Tendrils of Agony as a win con. It's fine in Brawl, but very similar to what's its name? Grape Shot. You don't get the storm count before you, because it's not an infinite loop, so you're not just going to guaranteed infinite loop, cast Tendrils, and kill everybody. God, after all of this, am I going to become some weird Thassa's Oracle deck at the end of all of this, where it's just like, no, I have no other win cons. This is just a purely Thassa's Oracle deck. Because then I might want Boozy Thing back in, but that feels incorrect to do. Like, at that point, we've moved so far away from how Green Goblin wins. Maybe we don't need Thassa's Oracle. Like, it's fine as a backup win con, but I hate Thassa's Oracle. Maybe we don't actually need it. One of my least favorite ways to win a game of Magic anyway. And if we have the Lion's Eye Diamond Brain Freeze combo, then we just have to be careful about not drawing too many cards. Which can actually be a problem, because if we have certain things in play, they will just continue to function properly. And they're automatic, they're not optional. So we have to be very careful about decking. But it would be possible to essentially put everything into the graveyard, cast the things that we need to cast most because they cost 2 less. So being able to cast, like, artifact mana out of the graveyard, for example. So as long as we don't deck ourselves because we have to draw cards because of the like something like Near Div or Secrets, then we should. I believe Artist Talent is a May. Also, you need a card in hand anyway to draw a card, so if you don't have cards in hand, you can't discard anything to draw cards. But If we could cast like the artifact mana sources from the graveyard and maybe like Displacer Kitten, we would be able to generate enough mana between all of that in order to cast tendrils more than once from the graveyard. At which point in time, between all of the things we should be able to cast from the graveyard, regardless of how they got there, thanks to Underworld Breach, we should be able to win the game anyway. Alright, I'm down. Let's cut Thassa's Oracle. I hate Thassa's Oracle. That's an entirely me thing. Like, I don't think you're a terrible person for playing Thassa's Oracle, but I do hate playing against Thassa's Oracle as like the backup win con slash it out of all of the alternate win cons, it is the one that makes me feel most like all of the rest of the game got invalidated by Thassa's Oracle showing up, and none of it mattered except to get to the point where Thassa's Oracle could show up, and that's not a feeling where I'm like, okay, that was a good game of Magic. It's like, no, this is the equivalent in Commander to me of having somebody play Strip Mine turn one in Brawl with a commander that can get Strip Mine back from the graveyard. Like, it's like, oh, cool, nothing mattered. That was great. I'm so glad I sat down to try and play Magic with you. So yeah. Can't just get rid of interaction. I need something. Somebody's going to have something that disrupts my combo, and I need to have a way to interact with their card. So, can't just go getting rid of everything. But I barely have ways to interact to begin with, so it might be really hard for me to win that game. 2 pieces of disruption. How can I possibly overcome such focused hate against my deck? This insight, talisman of creativity, Urza. Yeah, having Urza in play is very similar to having Burgi or Bone Miser in play. Once I have them in play and I start trying to go off, it just makes it so much easier to cast anything that might have otherwise been difficult to do. Better Gamble, Scourge, Grid, Brain Freeze, Tendrils, Eternal Tutor, very definitely not cutting Pact of Negation. Literally the best free counterspell in the game for my deck is Pact of Negation. It's the only one that works exactly the same if I discard it. Doesn't require anything to be in my hand. It's just too important in the deck. Geist is fine. The problem is I have fewer interactive spells on Arena, but that's because I usually only need to kill like one specific thing and then go off. Like I don't need worry about like 10 or 15 different things happening game. Whereas in Commander, I actually do have to worry about that, and we're already so low on interaction that it's really going to be a can you win through this? If so, you kind of have to just let it happen, no matter how bad it is for you, because you need to be able to kill the things that you absolutely cannot win through. Worst part is I cut like all of the creatures that like all the token makers from this one. I didn't cut them on Brawl, and I still can't find enough cuts. It could be Ageless Insight. I don't like cutting it though. The biggest reason to cut Ageless Insight over some of the other ones is that um, Secrets of the Dead counts for anything I cast from the graveyard, whereas Ageless Insight only counts for the cantripping ones. So, for example, if I cast a Mana Rock from my graveyard with Secrets of the Dead in play, I still get to draw a card. Um, whereas Teferi's Ageless Insight, I didn't draw a card from it in the first place, so I don't get to draw a second card. So Near Div and Secrets of the Dead, and to a lesser extent Artist Talent, all let me draw cards for casting the spells in the first place. They don't really care. Artist Talent cares that it was a non-creature spell, but that's already like 90% of my deck. It does require me to have a card in hand is Artist Talent's biggest drawback, but the other two levels of it, if I'm doing setup turns anyway, actually become very relevant during the main turn once I get to that point. Getting to deal 3 damage with a lot of the things like Shadow of the Goblin and Magmakin Artillerist and all that. Like really start to add up faster. So, and the 1 mana off of the casting cost starts to become really relevant when I need to cast things like Paradoxical Outcome and File of Galadriel. Like, it's the deck still benefits from reducing the casting cost on spells by 1, but we do not have room for um, Helm of Awakening or Stone Calendar. So, like, it's just not happening. But the Artist Talent is already the other thing that's more important. So if we ever get to level it up before going off, we get the benefits of those things also. So, but yeah, Ageless Insight is the worst of the remaining augmenting cards. Since first I have to be drawing a card. And that's not always the case with the spells I'm casting from my graveyard. Now, once I have one of the other ones out where I am drawing a card, now I'm drawing two cards, and that is better. I am really, really desperate for cuts here. And I have the benefit of having the research vessel, most of my things being artifacts anyway. Draw me cards, and near div is the same as secret, so. And I get a like, how few lands can I get away with? Is 35 okay, knowing that like 9 of them or something are fetch lands? I'm pretty sure it's 9 of them. It's literally only the white green fetch is not on the list. Oh god. Like once I have enough, that is the problem. Once I have enough mana to start going off, a lot of the other things just start happening. Like as long as I didn't miss land drops to set this up, I don't need to draw any more land afterwards. And I can fetch the Surveil lands, which is something I do almost exclusively. Like I don't even fetch Xander's Lounge or anything. I almost always fetch the Surveil lands in the early game first to get the top lands out of my deck and to um look for more lands usually to get set up with. Because when you're the turn that you're going off, you can only play the one land anyway, and once you have played it, you're going to see a lot of lands, and the more lands you see, the more likely you are to brick. But 35 lands is a little light. I might actually be able to get away with that, though. Like I said, when you are going off, lands are bricks. Just straight up. They are the worst possible thing you can see. Because they give you. The only thing lands do for you is if you have Bone Miser out and you discard them, you get 2 black mana. That's the only benefit that they offer you at that point in the game. So. And you should be able to find an untapped land if you need it. Honestly, I think this is the only way I'm finishing this deck right now, is if I go lighter on the lands. And the argument does hold water for me. Like I said, I've played with Fleam a bunch, and I do know that when you get to the point where you're going off, the easiest way to not actually successfully go off is to just keep hitting land after land after land from all of your card draw spells. So 35 is very light, though, for a deck that is pretty mana hungry, honestly. But. Alright. Let's take a look at the lands that we have here, because I think I can get rid of some of the non-basics. So according to this, we have 34. Which, right now, we only have room for 35. So that's a little awkward. Ancient Tomb stays for right now. I do think Cephalid Coliseum can go. because it's not. It's a spell that costs double blue effectively when we are trying to go off, so it doesn't actually do the thing that we need it to do. Team Vents, Blood Crypt. Urborg is fine for right now. Crumbling Necropolis. Bojuka Bog, Cavern of Souls. Might be able to get rid of some of these tap lands, honestly. Definitely keep those three, though. We can probably get rid of Cavron. It does work with zombie infestation specifically, but you need so many zombies. And if you have those zombies, you were probably winning anyway, because you've discarded so many cards at that point. So, Cavron is primarily just a tap land. Oscorp Industries is fine, just as another tri-land. Command Tower, same thing. So, yeah, I think... Like, I don't actually need the cycling lands or the Battle for Zendikar. Well, the Battle for Zendikar can come into play untapped, but that means there'll be a red-blue land right now that needs to get replaced by that when it eventually comes out that doesn't. So... But yeah, I think Canyon Slough, Fetid Pool, and one of the blue-red tap lands can go. Just reduce the overall number of tap lands. Yeah, I'll get rid of Volatile Fjord. Don't need a random snow land. Sanders Lounge is fine. Tributary, and those three stay. Oscorp stays. And of course, Command Tower stays. Alright, so that brings us down to 29. So now we have room for 6 lands. So 2, 2, and 2. Like, we have slightly more black in the single lands. Because we have Urborg and we have Bojuka Bog. And honestly, I think black might even be the least important. So now the question becomes, if I move one swamp out, do I want more blue for things like mana drain, or do I want more red? I think I have a slightly easier time making red because of Burgi when I'm going off. So having the extra blue mana so that way I can cast Mana Drain early is probably better. Just like the fraction of a percentage of the time that it's going to matter. So... Island 3, Swamp 1, and Mountain 2. Gives us 35 lands. This is definitely one where I would want to play with it a bit more and see. But unfortunately, I'm just not playing paper Magic right now. So the already cumbersome effort it takes to build a commander deck is further hampered by not really getting to play commander all that much. I'd have to find like a regular place to play again before I start going, you know what? Yeah, let me actually build my commander decks that I've been working on, like the ones that I'm really excited to play with. Hey, I think this is the build for right now. I would need to play with him a bit more, make sure that I can afford to have so many fewer lands than normal for one of my decks. Excuse me. But I do think that he does, like, playing with Fleam has had situations where I just draw 4 or 5 lands in a row, and it's just like, that is A, possible, but feels like I'm getting really unlucky, and B, what else am I supposed to do? Like, can I actually afford to cut any lands from this thing? And then what spells do I add in? And the answer is more discard outlets and more augmenters, I think. And if you can get those on the list, then more of the cantripping artifacts, but without cutting interaction, I can't make room for anything else right now, I feel like. So yeah, I'm not 100%, like, this is not the final build, but I think this is where he's at right now to playtest with him to figure out what things need adjusting. So we'll call it there for Norman for right now. We'll call it the build, and play with it. See where you're at, see what things you are missing, and then go back and look at some of the things that I cut. If you need help finding cards that fill gaps, if he's coming up short on discard outlets, go back and look at some of the discard outlets I cut. And figure out which ones can go back in and what cards you want to take out for them. Like, what cards you're drawing too many of that you don't need all of the copies consistently, and then figure it out from there. But yeah, I'm going to call Norman for right now, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.